Hello everyone, welcome to video lectures and ISR initiative by SSMRV College. SSMRV College, one of the premier institutions run by the prestigious RV group of institutions, has come up with a unique initiative to engage students at the time of this unforeseen medical emergency caused by corona outbreak. As a socially responsible institution, we would like to connect academically with students to make good the losses caused. In this connection, I, Neeta SS of Department of MCOM, has posted a video on the subject Advanced E-commerce and Mobile Commerce and the topic IT Adoption in Small Business, Mobile Commerce in Automotive Industry. Please watch the video till the end and like, share with your peer groups and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you. So we'll discuss IT adoption in small business. Information technology provides an opportunity for businesses to improve their efficiency and effectiveness and even to gain competitive advantage. So here we have some categories, the organizational characteristics to adopt IT in the small business. Okay. For a small business, embarking on IT adoption for the first time is not trivial as there is a lot of uncertainty and risk involved. The introduction of IT is likely to cause changes in work procedures and increase computer anxiety among the employees. The technological innovation literature has identified many variables that are possible determinants of organizational adoption of an innovation. The introduction of IT is likely to cause changes in work procedures and increase computer anxiety among the employees. The technological innovation literature has identified many variables that are possible determinants of organizational adoption of an innovation. So most of these studies have investigated the effect of organizational characteristics and adoption of innovations. We'll discuss one by one what are the characteristics of the IT adoption in the small business. So organizational characteristics that have been studied include size and IT employee knowledge. So first we are classifying this IT adoption in small business into owner-manager characteristics. In that we have perceived benefits, computer literacy, assertiveness, perceived control, subjective norm, mistrust of IT industry and the time constraint. So we'll be having return on investment. So whatever you are investing, we should get the return in terms of profit. We have another firm characteristics, that is organizational readiness, external pressure to adopt, customer or supplier dependency, structural sophistication of the firm, size, sector, status and information intensity. So what is perceived benefits? Okay. So perceived product benefits exist on three levels: physical, logical, emotional. When comparing the difference between perceived benefit and perceived cost, if the difference is positive, customer perceived value is high, meaning that customer will buy a product or service assertive confidently. Okay. So here if the perceived cost, if the difference is positive, the customer perceived value is high, meaning that customer will buy a product or service. So perceived benefits affect technology adoption in terms of the perceived ease of use or usefulness of the technology. If an owner or manager does not perceive the technology in a positive way, he or she will be reluctant to adopt. Second characteristic, literacy, computer literacy. The computer literacy of the business owner can also influence technology adoption. If the owners are unaware or do not understand the technologies available, they are unlikely to adopt them into their own business. The third characteristic, the level of assertiveness. Assertiveness means confident. Okay, so the level of assertiveness, rationality and interaction of business decision processes can also impact on IT adoption. If owners of the firm are assertive in business decision processes, understand the benefits and applications for the technology in their organization, and are able to rationalize how that information can be useful, they'll be more likely to adopt IT. The fourth characteristic, perceived control. Okay, this relates to the amount of requisite opportunities and resources. So what is this resources meaning here? Time, money, skills, cooperation of others. Okay, someone possesses to be able to carry out the course of action, that is technology adoption. So that is perceived control. Okay. Example, a small business owner may decide that connection to the mobile internet is an important competitive use of IT. Yet, if there is a possible budget shortfall, their decision to adopt will be influenced. The last characteristic, subjective norm. It is a thought to affect technology adoption in terms of the strength of the person's normative beliefs that groups links that behavior of interest should or should not be performed. That means technological adoption. A person's motivation to comply with a group is also a factor affecting normative behavior. So these are all the owner or manager characteristics. Next we'll discuss firm characteristics. Okay, so here we have organizational readiness. This refers to the level of technology currently incorporated into business processes. If there is a little technology incorporated or outdated, inefficient technology being utilized, it is likely to adopt new technologies. Second one, a small business will be reluctant to adopt innovative IT unless there is a specific request for it by their trading partners or by the customers. If this external pressure to adopt IT is not present in the industry sector, then the business owner may perceive the technology as a waste of resources. The third characteristic, dependency of the small business. Dependency of the small business customer on the supplier is linked to the previous factor. Not only would the supplier need to have adopted the technology to make it viable, the small business owner would need to recognize and understand the benefits to his or her firm in adopting the technology. In addition, an organization may perceive that their clientele was of a certain socio-economic level that would not readily benefit from the introduction of new technology. And the fourth characteristics, the structural sophistication of the firm in terms of centralization and complexity will also influence technology adoption in its ability to incorporate new technologies into its work practices. What does it mean? The structural sophistication meaning the quality of being complicated or made with great skill, and the complexity will also influence the technology adoption. A particularly complex structure could either inhibit or facilitate technology adoption and would be dependent on whether the owner believed that IT could be easily incorporated and enhance operations or excessively disrupt operations. Fifth characteristic, the size, sector and status of the organization has been shown to influence technology adoption, particularly in relation to the sector and status. If competitors and trading partners within the sector have adopted IT, an owner may be more inclined to adopt as well. So the size of the business can also influence technology adoption, as a very small businesses with only 2 or 3 employees may not have the time or expertise to devote the implementing and using new technologies. The sixth characteristic, the level of information. So the level of information intensity within the organization may influence the owner to adopt or not adopt a technology. Meaning that, example, if large amounts of data and information are part of business processes, an owner may be more likely to adopt technologies that could streamline operations and lead to process efficiencies within the organization. So next topic, diffusion of mobile data technologies. Major innovations may have to prove themselves in new markets before they can displace other technologies. The acceptance of web-based technologies is also influenced by ease of use and perceived costs and benefits. So here, major innovations may have to prove themselves in the new markets. That means it is the early adopters or innovators who will initially experiment with these technologies. In addition, the usefulness and ease of use will impact on owner or manager acceptance of the technologies. Therefore, the attributes of the technologies may improve their acceptance by small business owner or managers. Second diffusion. Lack of speed is a barrier to adoption as mobile data technologies are slow and hence inefficient. Okay, so this is another barrier, is the perception of a lack of standardized IT environment for developing mobile data applications as impeding the growth of the mobile data market. So one more drawback here is limited bandwidth, higher usage costs, increased latency and a susceptibility to transmission, noise and call dropouts are also possible barriers to adoption. So these are all the barriers. So if we are not implementing the, like, what will happen if we have the mobile data technologies? We'll be having the lack of speed. That is also one of the barrier to adopt mobile data technologies, and limited bandwidth, higher usage costs, increased latency, and there will be a call dropouts. Sometimes there will be a noise also. So these are the possible barriers to adopt the new technology. So it is possible, therefore, that adopters are sitting back and waiting for at least some of these problems to be corrected before entering the mobile data market. So another area of concern for end users is that the wireless application protocol, WAP protocol. It's an emerging technology used to send data to and from handheld devices and has no security mechanisms built into it. So this is of potential concern not only to the business user but also to the customers of the business as well. Small business owner or managers do not buy technology. They buy business benefits. Mobile data technology benefits include easy communication through email, ready access to information wherever and whenever, entertainment and improved lifestyle through e-commerce and banking. So this is what the owners or managers will do in the small business. Next, location based service. So based on the location, they will be offering the different services to the customers. A location based service is any applications that offer information, communication or a transaction that satisfies the needs, specific needs of a user in a particular place. Example, traffic information for the highway. A user is currently driving on, or he may get some discounts on the coffee shop around the corner from where a user is walking. These examples are the classic examples for the location based service. Okay, so if you have on the GPRS in your mobile phone, they'll be able to track, so where are you, based on your location they will be sending the offers around you. This is one advantage of location based service in the mobile phones. Mobile commerce or m-commerce represents the transaction component of location based services. But the universe of location based services broadly incorporates many other applications where money may not change hands. Next, internet connectivity and wireless communication are augmented by a third key technology, location determination technology, that is LDT. Wireless data services that are customized for a specific place, time and individual can be economically delivered to a mass market. What is LDT? LDT is location determination technology, which identifies the current position of a free floating network user and automatically reports that position to a service applications. Is the key component behind the most promising and profitable segment of the wireless data market, that is location based services. Next, mobile network operator opportunity. Mobile network service operators enjoyed rapid growth throughout the 1990s. New subscribers were acquired at high double-digit growth rates and network infrastructure was upgraded from 1G analog phones to 2G digital phones to meet the increasing demand for voice traffic and the initial demand for data traffic over the mobile network. Network operators enjoyed the double benefit of rapid subscriber growth and increasing voice traffic per subscriber, even as per minute tariffs were declining. As the era of initial mass adoption of mobile phones ended in the industrialized countries, new subscriber growth rates and average revenue per user, in short we call it as ARPU, average revenue per user, began to moderate. High subscriber turnover churn. Churn means churn rates which operators could accept in periods of rapid subscriber growth began to affect profitability. So despite network operator efforts to differentiate and brand themselves based on voice quality, voice traffic became commoditized and pricing highly competitive. So this location-based services offer mobile network operators a means to truly differentiate their product offerings. The degree to which operators are successful in localizing services for users responding to user preferences as well as pricing and ease of integration with existing services will determine competitive advantage. And the third one is service and content differentiation is enabling network operators to increase their ARPU. ARPU is average revenue per user and subscriber acquisition and retention rates. That means as user invest more time and effort in customizing their many location based services options through their network operator, they will be less inclined to switch providers to seek the latest and cheapest bucket of minutes incentive plan. So based on your interest, you can choose whatever the incentive plans you are looking for in the mobile devices. Next, constraints of wireless data services. Constraints, I can also say it's the rules of wireless data services. So you have to follow these criteria to adopt in the wireless data services. Okay, so the constraints of technology and human behavior compel wireless data services to exhibit three key attributes to achieve market adoption. Okay, so wireless data services must be personalized, localized and actionable. These are the three key attributes you have to achieve in the market adoption. Wireless data services are most successful when they incorporate the critical attribute of locality that defines location-based services. We'll discuss one by one. So these are all the criteria to adopt the wireless data services. First one, personalized. To simplify interactions, location-based services must be highly personalized. This is a goal that many conventional internet services share, but the importance of personalization for location-based services is much greater. Okay, here membership in awards like clubs, credit card numbers, banking relationships, commuting routes and thousands of other daily choices can be present through the rich, highly interactive computer keyboard and display interface. So it depends on the user what he will select. So it's all about his personal choice. These preferences can then be recalled with a single click on the more concise handset interface exactly when needed. The second attribute for wireless data services are localized. This is the second attribute. So this reduces the complexity of user interaction, that is localization. Here we have one of the important feature, that is search. Search is one of the most heavily utilized online internet functions, but it is terribly cumbersome operation on the minimal interface of the mobile handset. With the knowledge of the user's position, applications can filter out vast amounts of irrelevant information and transaction choices. What this localization will do? Localization enables an application to present only those ATMs that are within walking or driving distance. For instance, only those customers' records for the address where a sales rep is visiting, or the location of parking lots that are located near to the location where you are driving, or if you are traveling to somewhere else, the location is saved on your mobile device. If you click on search, automatically you will get the result. The third constraint, actionable. The third attribute that contributes to a successful location-based service is actionability. Information requests or m-commerce transactions that cannot wait and whose response options have been filtered through localization and personalization constraints are the basis for location-based services that see enduring consumer demand. What does it mean here? When users know what movies are starting in the next 20 minutes, he should know which parking lots are already full at their destination or know the current traffic conditions. Based on that, you can leave your home. They possess timely, actionable information that can be used to make immediate decisions and transactions. That is what we say it as actionable. Just recall it. The three important constraints for wireless or the three important attributes for the wireless data services are personalized. Based on the personal interest of the user, he can choose the daily activities in the mobile phones. Localized. Localization means your location will enable, it will help you to find out the nearest ATMs, it will help you to find out the nearest petrol bunks or what all the sales is happening nearby, or the location of the parking lots easily you can find out. Actionable. Based on this result, you can take the necessary decisions or transactions. Next topic, mobile commerce in automotive industry. Mobile commerce or m-commerce in the automotive industry could be characterized in parallel and in conjunction with another term framed within industry, telematics. What is telematics? The telematics industry is an emerging business area that allows car manufacturers and aftermarket producers to provide innovative solutions for information services. So these information services include automatic and manual emergency calls, roadside assistance services, GPS, traffic and dynamic route guidance, internet communications and personal courier services or personal concierge services. What is the impact of m-commerce in automotive industry? The following trends demonstrate the dynamics of the automotive industry as it plans to make decisions on the level of engagement in the telematics marketplace. So the first one, the automotive transportation platform becoming technologically current or internet ready. And the second impact, wireless computing becoming pervasive in society. Product and service prices are dropping. Rapid increase in unit sales. Burgeoning demand for call centers and convenience services integration. Rapid rate of technological innovation. Potential supplier consolidation. So, the automotive manufacturer has to seek partnerships and industry relationships with various technology providers to develop products and services and deliver these to the customers in order to be successful in this marketplace. This will become a challenge given the rate at which technical environment is changing. So next topic, mobile advertising in building a brand. So as you all know, we use our mobile phones for our building a brand. It's like a mobile has become a platform to advertise, to do the marketing for our business. So mobile advertising is often used as an integral part of internet marketing. The internet and mobile are often considered personal channels that enable effective one-to-one marketing. Okay, so currently mobile advertising campaigns primarily include, so what we'll use in mobile as an advertising. So we send a SMS, now we have WhatsApp, we have status. So we'll be updating in WhatsApp, we'll be updating in status, we'll be sending messages to the registered users for your particular website or for your business. So these are all the way of how we advertise in the mobile phones. So SMS means short messaging service. One more way is banners, on the other hand, can be compared to mass media advertising if they are not targeted based on demographic or psychographic information. That means if the message is not relevant to customers, the acceptance of mobile advertising declines quickly. Example, spams. Okay, if the user doesn't like your messages, they can spam, they can block. Therefore, mobile advertisers today should thoroughly consider how they have to use the advertising. Customers should be given the possibility to choose where, when and by whom they are contacted. So customers have the rights to block or rights to decline your messages or your emails. So the right message should reach the right audience, right place and context at the right time through the right channel. So this is very important. So whenever you are advertising, you should have a right message. That right message should reach the right audience at the right place and at the right time through the right channel. Mobile advertising has been compared to direct marketing because of its personal nature, but it can also be used for branding purposes. Mobile marketing or mobile advertising should always be based on the customer's need, and it should be communicated in the right context. Okay, so customers benefit from giving permission to mobile marketing, which also makes mobile advertising more likely a service than just marketing communication. So mobile is only one of the channels in the cross media context that enables the company to serve the customer better. So that's why mobile these days is very important in order to build our business marketing also. Mobile marketing must cater to each subscriber's individual preferences and lifestyles, thereby delivering value for one-to-one relationship. Next topic, mobile advertising. What and all it includes? Okay, so mobile advertising includes push and pull messages as well as promotional sponsorships. So furthermore, it can be used flexibly as part of a cross media concept, including media such as print, TV, radio and point of sale materials. So push messaging means push messaging is equivalent to spam email. Typically, push campaigns include offers sent to existing customers. So a customer visits to your shop, you will collect the customer's data, mobile number and address. So whenever the next offer is there, you will be sending a bulk SMS to all your customers. If they don't like, they can make this as a spam. So that permission has been given to the customers. So without permission, you cannot send those type of messages. Okay, so sending push messages illegally without permission is commonly called as spam. Context and value of the message have to be considered carefully before applying this strategy to approach customers. If the message is not relevant to the receiver, it can easily turn against the advertiser. So if they have marked as a spam more than 2 or 3 times, then immediately the advertiser can remove your advertisement. Pull campaigns attract the customer to order further information and other content through the mobile device. Customers can receive discount coupons or samples by sending their contact information through their mobile device. If SMS messages or picture logos are used as coupons, the advertiser should consider if the coupon should be personal or if spreading the message to friends should be allowed in order to create viral impact. So pull campaigns often include a cross-media approach. Customers react to an advertisement in other media through the mobile channel. Sending push messages illegally without permission, we call it as spam. So next topic, successful business models. So first one we have brand building and media mix. Now we'll see what is brand building. Almost every company has a corporate website which describes its products and services. So this type of website is a sales brochure or a billboard and a corporate profile all in one. So in the website itself, you will be having all the information so that it will reach to the more customers. You will be having your brand building also. A more subtle way of building one's brand is to offer useful content to the end user. Many consumer-oriented websites offer not only product information but also some useful content. We can see there are n number of websites. Along with their products, they also will be displaying the useful tips to the users. An even more successful derivative of this model, we have one more, is media mix. What is media mix? Blending the content of I mode, that is internet mode, with content in other media to help drive that business too. I mode is not intended to replace other media and is not an appropriate medium to present certain types of content. It can, however, be a useful access point for other content or media. So this could take the form of an interactive television program of information such as anchor diaries, presented in a more interactive way as a content to that user. So an example of this model, I can say media mix means what you are doing here is, in order to get one thing, you are blending the content from one to the other. Example, I can say the recipe database. Okay, so the recipe database will be having all the content information, not only related to food, some tips also will be given there. Next, CRM, customer relationship management. It has a variety of meanings that can be used to express a multitude of services. In the case of iMode, CRM can be described simply as providing support for one's customers with useful online services in the mobile environment. These can be used as a shipment tracking service operated by several courier services on the iMode platform. More sophistication is presented by a variety of financial institutions. Over 350 banks currently offer mobile banking services. So most major credit card companies offer online services to their customers through iMode. So that's why we all will be getting once in a while or most of the time the calls from the company for credit card. So they are indirectly doing their marketing. And one more example I can give here is insurance. Insurance companies from automobile and travel provide clients with information and the ability to make transactions online. So one example for CRM. So CRM means providing support for one's customers. Okay, providing support to his customers with useful online services in the mobile environment. Example, credit card offers or insurance. Okay, stock brokers, direct or some securities offer real-time trading functionality also to their account holders, and it also gives services to its non-clients. Today, users are able to access account information from a variety of different devices, including iMode, the PC and the telephone, all with same password. So next is online retail. It is one of the most talked about business models of the internet revolution. Online retail has been one of the most initial success for the online retailers. By snatching business from one's business, they are snatching and they are building their brands. These provides premium services ranging from 100 to 300 yen per month per subscription. So what the initial success of online only retailers, what it will do, by snatching business Walt Disney Company. So there was a Walt Disney Company. Okay, so what they will do is they will copy the other business mode and they will try to implement. So their business will be up and others will go down. Okay, so Walt Disney Company. Okay, so Walt Disney Company, it was one of the famous entertainment business for a long time for the users. It has wide variety of users, young, old, the kids. Okay, so using the same content but repositioned for a mobile user, Disney has developed a business model that is providing an excellent revenue stream. Okay, so here Disney is but one example of the premium content providers on iMode. So it has more than 30 million subscribers. The iMode subscriber market is very attractive. And the fourth one, aggregation. Another business model found often in the database category of content is that the aggregator. So these content providers include restaurant guides, real estate guides, or job search sites. The classic aggregator would be Yellow Pages telephone directory. While free to the user, companies pay for listing or extra advertising space. While a call to a directory assistance operator might be premium to cover the extra staffing charges. So these aggregators of information develop a number of back-end models so that costs do not have to be incurred by the user. So next, the last, we have advertising. A final business model is developed on iMode, that is advertising. When iMode first launched with no subscribers, there was no way to put a monetary value on banner. In June 2000, NTT Docomo formed a joint venture with Dentsu, Japan's largest advertising agency, and NTT Ad, a member of NTT Group. Today, advertising on iMode can be broken down into three schemes. Okay, so the first is simple banner ads within content provider site and the weekly iGuide area on NTT Docomo's portal. These small banners are kept to minimum in order to reduce the negative impact to the user and is highly trafficked pages to increase the click-through rate. Once a user clicks through a banner, the most effective advertising consists of campaign information for the advertiser or takes the user through the advertiser's website. So this concept is not very different from the fixed line internet. The third advertising method is message free service, which is a special push mail function of iMode in which transmission costs are borne not by the user but the advertiser. Okay, so this is all about the business models. Thank you for watching and happy learning.